I just have a page of fruit here, so I'm going to go ahead and just do a little burnishing on, let's say, a red pear. And I'll show you what the difference is. I'm going to show you how I would begin to develop the contours and the colors that I might use. And I'm going to do it quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time making the color really, really even, because I really want to just demonstrate what happens with the layering and then consequently with the burnishing. Okay, so the procedure to follow is I usually start to use the darker colors first because it's just easier to get the lighter colors to go on over them. For the most part, I'd say that it's probably easiest, and it's easiest to get even color and uniform color if you put on the darks first. I just want to start with color in this case, and then I'll very quickly go ahead with the layering. I want to go ahead now and continue with a dark red, and this is Crimson Lake. It's a dark red, and when I put it over the purple, I can still see the purple through it. So I want to just go ahead and layer this on, and now I want to pull that red farther into the white than I did the purple. So as I said, I'm not working really, really hard to make this really smooth, or we're all going to go to sleep here, because it does take a long time, especially if you work in the way that I work. And to me, I don't have a problem with that. I'm patient. I enjoy applying the color very carefully. But for some other people, that might not be the best way to do it. We all have our own stroke, we all have our own patience level, and we all have our own sense of time that we have a schedule to meet, or we have other things we have to do, and so you know about how fast you have to work in order to accomplish what you do. And I prefer to take my time putting the color on pretty carefully. But today I'm just going to do it quickly so that you can see how I would do it and in what order. The light is probably coming from over here somewhere, so I might even give my pear 2 highlights. And now I'm going to color the red color, which is a darker color, not all the way up to the white highlight, but around the edge, just like I did on the sphere, pretty much the same way. Although I have to remember that the pear is a little bit different because it's like 2 spheres put together. And as I get closer to that white highlight, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to put color all the way up there. So I'll just keep applying the color. This is a two color local color right now. So I know that colored pencil is better if I use more than 2 colors, and I plan to use more than 2 colors, but I know how these colors are going to go together. I know how that purple has begun to add that nice rich dark side to the pear, and I want to continue the darkness, but now I'm putting the red on so that the pear looks red all over. Okay, and then I want to go to a lighter red, so I'm going to move to the crimson red now, which is still a darkish red. So now I'm going to take the crimson red and I'm going to start clear back here with it. And now I'm going to be a little more careful because now I really want to fill up the paper tooth. So I'm going to keep on using a little bit heavier pressure, and I'm going to keep turning the pencil to keep the point as sharp as I can and keep a nice little edge on it so it'll work down into the tooth. And just go ahead and fill it up. And I want to just go ahead and keep that red going, just like I'm doing here. This time I'm going to pull it up even closer to the highlight, and now I'm really lightening up on the pressure around the highlight. I don't want a hard line there because my pear is not real shiny. If the pear were made out of glass, I'd make a real sharp edged highlight here, but it's not. It's shiny-ish, but it's not glassy. So I just want to pull that color right up and get it almost there, and lightly around the highlight. And then I just want to go ahead and finish applying it all over the rest of the pear, just not to the highlight. And I don't mind turning my work. Doesn't bother me. I can work on it upside down if I have to, because once I start applying the color and I know where those colors go, then all I care about is just the stroke and getting the color on so that it looks reasonably even. When I started doing colored pencil, I was a burnisher. I really put the color on. And it makes wonderful, wonderful deep color. But it's a final step, and once you burnish, it's really hard to add more color because you've polished the surface of the pencil that you've applied. And when you start to put another color on top of that, it's like working on a piece of glass, just about. The color doesn't want to go on nearly as well as it would on a piece of toothy paper. So I just keep on adding color. Now I have an old Spectracolor pencil, and I love this color red. I will continue to put more color on here as I go, and I need to pull this color up around the highlights just a little bit more. When I start to burnish, the old method of burnishing was to take a white or a light color and begin to burnish with the white, because that, and I'm pressing really hard now, I don't want to bend the point of the pencil or break the point. But you can see what's happening. I'm getting a pink here. This pear is not supposed to be pink. I also want to have a light red around the highlights, and if I start putting this opaque white on there, I'm going to get a pink halo around the highlight, and I don't want that either. So in the old days, before the magic pencil was invented, people burnished with lighter colors. A white, a very light gray, a light blue, just to get a lighter color on there and begin to smoosh all that color together. One good way of burnishing that keeps your color, except for this area right here, is to take the color that's most characteristic of what you've layered and developed and begin to burnish right there. Now I'm pressing really hard. I'm filling the paper tooth. I'm still using my little round circular strokes, but now you can see what's happening to the color. It's getting really, really dark, very vivid, and concentrated. And I can go ahead and work that almost out to the edge, but before I do, I would go back and take the darker red, which is the Crimson Lake, and I would burnish out here with that color. That one is going on over the purple, so the purple shows through it, and I'm blending that right back in over the lighter red. So you can see what happens, and you can see what kind of color develops. Before I would use the magic pencil, what I call the magic pencil, I would apply a little bit more color out here, but I'll talk about the magic pencil first. For a long time, we asked the colored pencil manufacturers to make us a pencil that was just the wax and not any pigment at all. So finally they did. They actually listened, and it was wonderful. So for several years now, the colorless blender has been available, and Prismacolor makes one. They're not the only ones. Other brands do too. But what this pencil does is give me the ability right now to get in here and work on this light red and keep it light red instead of making it a pink color like that one. So it's called the colorless blender. I start in the lightest area, and I'm pressing hard, and I work out into the darker area. Before I go any farther, I do want to put more red down. I'd like to get pretty much almost as much as this, but I don't want to really burnish with the red as the last step. I want to use the blender to do that. But I want to really fill up the tooth before I start, because the end result is going to look pretty much like what I've already done here. So as I apply my color, or as I apply my blender pencil, the color gets more vivid. And you can see that happen. I would fill that in a little bit more, but I can show you how it works here. It's the same thing around the edge as I'm getting over there. Maybe not quite as much color, but I haven't changed the color either. So the blender fills the tooth, mixes the layers together that you've applied, and it makes the color much richer. So you can see the difference between just layering the color and then using the colorless blender, or using colors to go ahead and burnish a color in.